All right, folks, it's a Tuesday afternoon. I just woke up. I'm feeling pretty good, but I'm still tired. But it's okay, folks. We are here. You're live with Lonzo, the Godfather of West Coast Hip Hop, and my main man, the Dusty one, folks. Before I get started, we got to do this right here. From the West Coast to the East Coast and everything between, folks. From Eve after dark to concerts in the park. You're live with your boy Lonzo, the Godfather of West Coast Hip Hop. We doing it like this on a Tuesday afternoon. It's about right on time, folks.
Yeah.
We got a lot to talk about. Can't wait to get started. Let's do it. What up, Dusty?
Lonzo, what's good, my man?
Man, just been busy as a one-harm. I'm just been busy. I ain't gonna try and fix it, make it.
You just woke up from your nap. You're not as quick as normal, huh?
Yeah, look, my cycle's a little bit slow right now. We'll be all right in a second. What's happening with you?
Yeah, let's do it, man. A lot to talk about, Lonzo. This show's probably going to fly by, man. For whatever reason, just a lot going on in the news, man. I guess the biggest story this week, the one that everyone's talking about, amongst other things, is the ROLLIN 60s were arrested. A bunch of them were arrested on a RICO charge. And there are a few big names in that. Big U, BRICC BABY, who you may know from No Jumper, and LUCE Cannon, who has also been on the internet for a couple of years now. And a bunch of other ROLLIN 60s, like I mentioned, were arrested by the feds for crimes including murder, extortion, firearms, prostitution, embezzlement, a whole slew of crimes. It's not looking good for them. Before we dive into this, man, and pick the story apart, Lonzo, talk to everyone out there about the feds and how when they come after you, they pretty much have all their ducks in a row.
They have endless money, endless time. They don't waste their time on trying to prove the case once they got you. They pretty much proved it already. It's just a matter of how much time we're going to give you. Okay. It was described one time, I think the feds grabbed somebody recently and they said, man, they could have saved this money and just went on and hired a public defender because you're probably not going to go anywhere. It's just a matter of how much time and where they're going to send you. And that's just how cold the game is when the feds come after you. And that's real talk, folks. It's not. Yeah. They have a great, unfortunately for some people, they have a great conviction rate, a great conviction rate because their work is already done before they put the handcuffs on you. They've taken their time, find out what had to find out, got everybody in line. Okay, we can go get them now because they're not going nowhere.
Yep. 97%, I do believe, is their conviction rate.
Yes, sir.
Pretty damn high. Very few have tried and won against the feds when they get arrested.
Very few, and you got to have a whole lot of money to fight them, folks.
Money.
You're gonna spend it trying to stay out of the penitentiary.
Facts. And we're not talking about, money that you think, you're balling on the corner. You can buy some Jordans. You could buy, a little nice apartment. We ain't talking about that kind of money, dog. We are not talking about that kind of money. We're talking about money.
If you don't have presidential dollars to redirect the whole focus of the case, not only about we were talking about that the other day. Not only do you have to worry about being innocent or guilty, you have the power to redirect the focus of the case to the prosecuting attorney. Don't worry about me right now. Don't worry about my crimes. Why is she sleeping with so and so? Why is that? And that because that's how much money you got to have in order to get from under the case of the feds. Okay. Got to redirect the whole focus, and most of us don't have it like that, Doc.
Yep. I am seeing some weirdness in the chat. Someone post in the chat real quick, Marlon. Let me know what's going on because it says my chat is disconnected, but we'll figure that out. No worries. Yeah, so let's break this down more. What makes the story even more crazy, Lonzo, is a couple of people that were arrested. They are big YouTubers. They are big content creators, millions of views online. I mentioned BRICC BABY and LUCE Cannon. Those are two of probably the most famous ones. But I've been watching their platform for a very long time now and listening to the things that they say. When this happened, when they got arrested, I was like, it was only a matter of time because some of the things they've said online, Lonzo, and it's all coming out in hindsight now with this case, but they were literally snitching on themselves. talking about having guns on them, illegal guns, and robbing people. Meek Mill's name was involved. PNB Rock's name was involved. We've talked about in the past, and we're going to get into that part of the story. But Lonzo, man, talk about how important it is to watch what you say online, bro.
You know, I listened to I've listened to these guys talk for the last few months, maybe last year or so. Just the fact that you tell people you have to check in, or you bragging about people having to check in. There's a term for that called extortion. Okay. Major issue, major crime. Extortion is a major crime. Tell somebody you have to check in, and I've seen the video. You have to check in, or we might check your equipment in, check you in. Nah, and that you think I think that's a cool term to apply to it. But bottom line is, it's extortion. There's a criminal code for that. It was being done in various countries around the world by the mafia and other organizations. And for you to be a part of a street gang, and that checking in is a part of your income stream, and especially when you taxing rappers, and you know that people have been have pretty much filed cases, or was known they had issues when they came to check in or didn't check in properly. And then here's the next problem: even if you check in with one side of the street, you still got the other side of the street. So, and it's only done to black rappers, and that's the part that's really disturbing. It's only done to us. We only make each other check in. It's not something that has universal. It's not a universal tax like income tax or anything like that. It's just a personal check. Oh, you came to our hood over here? Oh, we need some money. And in most cases, you can't give one person enough money to satisfy the hood. Hear what I said? You can't give one person enough money to satisfy the hood, and that's where your problem starts. You think you're protected, but you may be protected by the blue team. Or if you move locations, you got to check in again. And dude, that can get pretty expensive, especially when it's not a mandatory fee. It's probably not a line item on your budget. When you first came to put together this video budget, you didn't have a check-in line item. Well, we got to have at least about 50,000. We can take care of this person, take care of that person. That's not how it go. You realize they were shooting a video and you thought you was cool because somebody told you was cool. And I see that a lot, especially in business. Oh, man, we cool. I talked to so-and-so. Okay, cool. Go ahead. Get back at me after it's over with.
Facts, man. Just to let everybody know, my internet is down for whatever reason, so I may get to your chats a little bit later, so I apologize for that, but we're going to make it happen. I'm going to see if I can restart my router while we keep talking. But yeah, this is a situation, Lonzo, where you mentioned it before, and we've talked about checking in on a couple of videos, and I went back and listened to them just in preparation for this show, specifically when PNB Rock came to town. Now, this story is very important, Lonzo, because, well, first of all, we talked about PNB Rock a few years back, and for anyone who doesn't remember, because there have been so many rap unalivings as of late in the past 5 years, but PNB Rock was the one who was at a Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles in the hood, and about as bad a hood as it gets. Let's keep it real. And he had on all of his jewelry, and he was with his girl, and some dudes came in and they tried to take his jewelry from him. He didn't go down without a fight. Long story short, PNB Rock is right there in the Roscoe's in front of all the customers and everything. Now, that's important because Loose Cannon, who was one of the people that was arrested, he did a video a couple of months back placing himself at that scene. He literally it was just one line in a random conversation he had. He said, I was there. Me and such was there, man. So that's one of the reasons that people are saying that he got arrested. But what is it, Lonzo? I mean, back in your day, back in even my day, back in the 90s, we were never gangsters or anything like that on that level, but there was a code of silence. When did that change? What made that change? Because now it's almost like, damn, I popped that dude. Now you're online bragging about it.
The internet changed everything, man. It changes how we communicate, how we study, how we entertain ourselves, how we get entertained, but mainly because you can go viral and possibly make some money. And I listen to a lot of these cats, and here I'm gonna say this before I go any further. We talk about a lot of old stuff, okay? Because folks like hearing old. I love hearing a good old story, especially when it's true. But I see so many cats trying to develop a relationship or develop a reputation for being some super badass, and they tell stories about things they did, and a lot of these things are criminal. And for whatever reason, either they think ain't nobody listening, ain't nobody tripping, and it may not be the one story that gets it pulls the alarm, but enough stories help people build a case, help you build a case against yourself. You help the feds build a case against yourself because you said talk about this, talk about that, and some you may know more than you telling. And here's the cold part, and y'all know how these folks work. They scoop your ass up. Oh, you got this charge. You're looking at about 150 years. But if you start talking and start pointing some fingers, we might get you down to probation, okay? Or whatever the case may be. And folks do it. But in the meantime, in order to show how bad you were at a certain point in time in your career, and in most cases, even me, I ain't never tried to be a badass, but a lot of the stories I tell, unfortunately, a lot of the people who were involved are no longer here. So if I chose to embellish, or I could put if I know somebody who did something, I could put myself in that position, tell that story because I know what happened, I heard all about it, but the person who did it no longer here. I can put myself in that story, in that situation, and make myself be bigger than what I am. And like I said, even with my stories, a lot of my stories, the people who are around at that time are no longer here, and there's nobody to refute what I'm saying. So I have my own code of ethics that I ain't got a lot to kick it. Everybody don't live like that, because I've done enough where I don't have to lie to kick it. In fact, Dusty, I was going through my video library the other day. For the past 2.5 months, I've been digitizing a lot of my old videos. Dude, I done found some gold that I'm gonna share with you for the show and for my YouTube channel, folks. I found a lot of gold. And again, I'm not a gangster, so I ain't confessing no murders, but you can see the evolution of Lonzo, West Coast hip hop, a lot of things that I did because I got receipts. I'm thinking about calling that just a receipt. Something to that effect. I got receipts. So yeah.
Let's break this down a little bit more, Lonzo. In our last show, not on our last show, in our show from a few years ago, when we were talking about the unaliving of PNB Rock, you mentioned specifically this line, and I would love for you to break it down even more 3 years later, when, the guys, when there's people involved now who are probably behind bars. But this was your quote, Lonzo. You said, "With all the enemies we have, the only ones you can find is the one next door or the one around the corner." That's some special shit.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Break that down, man.
With all the folks in various places around the world who've done things to us, the community, the retaliate, I'm not encouraging nobody to do anything to anybody, but you would think that some of the things, the injustices that we felt as a community, somebody would have maybe crashed out to go deal with this for my folks, like they do for the hood. It's for the hood, okay? And just go crash out. It don't happen like that for us, but it happens like us when we're involved. If somebody does something to one of the homies, you prepared to go crash out and spend the rest of your life behind bars, or jeopardize anybody that's in his vicinity with a barrage of bullets trying to get at that person, and still risking your freedom for the rest of your life. But again, when somebody has done something to us as a people, there is nobody that's out there, you know what, I'm finna go crash out for my folks, because we can't let this slide. And that's basically what I'm saying. Charleston White said the same thing. I just ain't gonna say it like he does. I don't know who he got on his team, but I ain't gonna say that shit. I ain't got time to get arrested. I ain't got time to get questioned.
Yeah, I feel you on that. Charleston White's getting questioned because he's saying that he is one of the reasons BRICC BABY, specifically the guy from No Jumper, he's saying that he is one of the reasons that he is arrested by the feds right now, because BRICC BABY made a threat to him months ago, and Charleston White headed his ass down to the sheriff's department, put a formal complaint in, and said a member of the ROLLIN 60s Crips just sent me a threat, and I fear for my life.
Yeah, and those 2 points, the gang and the fear, is enough to get somebody arrested these days. I mean, they don't play with that. That is a terrorist threat, and that is a major situation. And he makes it plain and clear. I will tell. I have no reservations whatsoever. And we were talking about that the other day. Me and a buddy of mine were just discussing how brothers have gotten so twisted when it comes to the snitching scenario. A brother, bald-headed, wearing a burgundy shirt, do something. I know he did it. He know he did it. I get arrested for it, but I can't tell nobody he did it. But he ain't gonna man up and tell nobody that I did it. I didn't do it. So if I say something, I'm a snitch, but he can allow me to ride his case with no repercussions whatsoever, because that's a street code. I'll never understand that, man. I'll never understand it. I can go to jail for somebody else knowing I didn't do it. He was bad. It could just be a simple situation. I passed him on the street. We got the same identity on. Hey man, what's up, Doc? How you doing? Or Dusty, hey, what's up, Dusty? How you doing, man? Now we don't look alike, but there's a lot of brothers with bald head with beards. A lot of brothers wear burgundy hoodies. And I may know him, and I know he did what he did, or he's that dude, because I saw him running from the place. But just so happened, I'm the one that get picked up. I can't say nothing because the street says that I have to ride his beef unless the police figure it out. Yeah, that helped me understand that with folks. And that was never the intention for snitching. Snitching was pretty much devised. If me and you do something together and I get caught, I don't tell on you. Everything else is bullshit.
Yeah, I was never a perfect candidate for a gang member, Lonzo, because the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm a snitch. If there's 20 of us on them mugshots, free those 19 people, man, because I'm telling everything, man. I'm not the one.
I told the cats at the club, they had a bad, they come out there and doing that. Look, man, let me tell you something. I am not going to get sweated. I'm not going to get my business sweated trying to protect y'all from this bullshit. Before you do what you do, don't do it here, because I'm not a part of y'all system. I'm not a part of your system, and I'm not gonna be drugging your system because you decided you so emotionally upset you're gonna commit a crime on my property. I got all these cameras. You think I'm gonna destroy the footage? I'm not gonna tear my cameras because you out there doing something too. Find someplace else to do it, man. I got into it with some youngsters. They felt they was gonna get at this cat at the club, and this dude ran to me. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna protect this dude for one. I'm gonna protect him from y'all. I'm gonna protect me from y'all bullshit. Because if I let y'all kill him, I got more headaches than I'm gonna ever live with, man. I've been there before. I've been through that scenario before, and he ain't done nothing other than he's being from the wrong side of town. Oh man, no, I'm not that. I'm just thinking. First of all, you need to be thanking me. If it wasn't for your partners right here, you wouldn't be sweating this dude. Y'all have a group. It's a group situation. Y'all all pumped up. So somebody got to do something. Meanwhile, if I throw this brother to the wolves, I'm just as guilty as you are. I can't do that.
Yeah, let's talk about this aspect of it, Lonzo. The city of LA got millions and millions and millions of dollars from the federal government to clean up LA before the 2028 Olympics come to town. Sounds very familiar to the 1984 Olympics, which I know you were there for. I was only 6 years old, so I don't really remember it like you do. But could this be a little bit of the cleaning up, going after the gang members, that they're doing? What do you think the next few years have in store for LA?
Very possible, man. I'm not saying that is the case, but one thing about it, it will make other folks start thinking about some of their activities. It may make folks start want to get out of town. I think, you know what, I'm gonna lay low for a while. I'm gonna move to wherever the case may be before they come after me. I'm gonna back up because I know the folks might start talking. I'm gonna back up so I don't incriminate myself or make the situation even worse. So yeah, Doc, I think it's very possible that they could be on a mission to start cleaning up the streets and putting something on folks' minds who are thinking about doing some crime.
Yeah, man, be careful out there, especially with this president in office. Now's probably not the good time to be a gangbanger. You know what I mean? Because he's going after a lot of people, man.
Yeah, they're not playing, dude. So
Yeah.
I tell anybody, last thing you want to do is go out here and do something stupid, get in these streets and start doing any kind of street activity. Because if enough stuff jump off with all these different situations, he can enforce martial law, which means the Constitution gets suspended. That means he do what the fuck you want to. And he already got it hooked up. Wherever he do, he ain't gonna get prosecuted for it. So now, man, if folks start acting a fool, sit your ass down, get you some popcorn, watch TV.
Yeah, Marlon says, like Unc always says, I ain't got time to do time. That's a big one right there, because Big U is 59 years old, Lonzo. Let's just say you and him are about the same age. Yeah. You know what? Unfortunately, at that age, anytime, because they're not going to give him a 5-piece. They ain't gonna give him no 5-piece and be like, "Oh, here's 6 years." Nah, when the feds come for you, they coming for the big numbers. So whatever he gets is probably a life sentence to him, right?
Very possibly, man. Could be. They gonna give him the whole piece. They gonna give him no slice. They're not giving him the slice of piece. They're gonna give him the whole piece and a box. And this ain't his first rodeo. So, and the fact that he came in and was actually getting money for under nonprofit. Now, that right there, if I have a nonprofit, okay, if you fucking with nonprofits and ain't applying the money where it's supposed to go, Negro, you have a major problem. If you're getting money from grants or the state, anybody, if they're giving you money to do something for the community and you're not applying it to where you're supposed to be, your mission statement is yes, your word saying I'm doing so and so and so and so. If they say that you're not doing that, man, I didn't realize until last year that the Department of Justice monitors nonprofits. Oh, you didn't know that? I didn't either. My nonprofit had won a grant for like $75,000. Everything was in the green. We was all good. Me and my folks was waiting on the grant. They did a DOJ check, and we were not that we had done anything wrong. We just weren't in compliance. I had no idea the DOJ had anything to do with grants. And once they sent us a letter, we realized, yes, they do. And because we were not in compliance, we didn't get the money. So that means you had to fool the DOJ, get past them to get anything past $50,000. If you got that and you make the DOJ and the feds look stupid, oh, heaven help you.
Oh, yeah. And one of the things that he's in trouble with specifically, the IRS came after his ass as well. Now, those PPP loans, Lonzo, we were warning people back in 2021 about those PPP loans, man. I listened to one of our old shows today, and we were telling you, don't mess around with that shit. If you get it, you better be 100% legit. But for whatever reason, a bunch of people got PPP loans, EDD loans during that time. And just because they didn't get you in 2022, 2023, 2024, doesn't mean they won't in 2025. And Big U is a perfect example. He got $200,000 PPP loan, and he claimed his business had profited that much the year before, which was one of the qualifications to get the PPP loan, but that was 100% untrue. If anything, I believe his business lost money the year before. So he took $200,000 from the Department of Justice. let's just say that. You know what I mean? To fund whatever allegedly illegal operations he had going on out there. Talk to people how you do not want to be on the IRS's bad side, Lonzo.
Dude, during the pandemic, I got an EDL. Okay, I did do that. I paid my damn shit on a regular basis. But when they told me about the PPP, and I said they do this, They can do that? Nah, man, because when they gave you so much money, okay, they was giving me so much money. Now, the one thing I should have did, I should have got a PPP and paid off my EDL, but I didn't think like that because I didn't want nothing to do with it. Most of my partners that had any kind of real sense, understood law, understood what they was asking for, and it was too easy. It was too easy. That was the biggest problem. It was too easy. Okay, and you didn't have to pay it back. You might get forgiven. Huh? No, man. And it was giving away hundreds of thousands. And most of the people that I know, a lot of people that I know that got that money, also got some time. So nah, dude. It was not something that unless you were prepared to have the documentation to back it up, it was a trap. You know, and most rats go for the cheese. I didn't go for the cheese. I don't go for the cheese. Nah, man. No. You gonna give me how much money? And I ain't got to do with this? Nah, that's bullshit.
It's almost like it was a setup, man. Looking back in hindsight.
You know what? In some ways it was, because it showed you who was gullible. Okay? Who was gullible? It was, dude, like I said, it's like somebody tell you, oh man, we're gonna run up in this bank. All you gotta do is drive the car. You still got the case, and you got the same case as the man with the gun at the window. Nah, dude. No, the same case, dude. I was only in the car. You still got a bank robbery case, fool. You still got a bank jacking. You still in trouble. All I did was drive the car. So, and don't let somebody in the bank hurt somebody. You unalive somebody. You got all that plus a bag of chips. Okay? Now, you might get home a little earlier than he do, but you still going on vacation.
You know, not saying that Big U is responsible, because obviously innocent until proven guilty. But what do you say to someone who is a little bit past their prime in the streets? Suge Knight being a good example of not knowing when to sit your ass down.
You know, I think when you have a reputation that would get you that kind of federal funding, let the streets go, man. If you're getting that kind of love from the feds, if you got that kind of money from record sales, you 50-something years old, let it go. And do you know you won? Did anybody tell you how to win? And that's one of the problems with a lot of cats, man. They don't know how and when they have won. They've been doing shit so long, they're stuck in a cycle, and they don't know that they won. And like somebody, the game over, you won. I'm still playing. The ball, I still got a ball. I'm on the field, but you won. The game over, and I'm still playing. And you mess around there and do some shit, they get you a long ass vacation. And like you said, at 59 years old, shit, man, 15 years is a 75, 80.
Man. AK King, the real king of pop, has a good question. I'd love for you to break it down. He says, and this is quote, AK King, what effects does social media have on the Negro today?
That's probably one of the biggest problems we have, is that Negroes today live for and on social media. So therefore they feel that is a real world, how to become something else, rebrand myself or make myself relevant in this day and time. And because you haven't done a whole lot of anything good, you got to tell yourself to stay relevant. You know, I listened to Cats, man, other day. I saw a dude I know very well. We've had this conversation. I ain't gonna speak his name because I don't need no dumb shit out of him. Yeah, on the suit and tie, talking about how much gangster shit they did back in the day. Man, you ain't never seen no real gangsters be on TV telling about what they did. You don't do that, you know. It may not be what you did is so bad, but it may open up another can of worms. And because the feds don't forget, you may not have you may have been said that one thing that just opened a new case, and this, oh, wait a minute, let me come on by, holler at me. Now you know you ain't got the money.
You were at Roscoe's when PNB Rock was okay. Yeah, come here.
You know something. You know something. And one thing about the posts, them folks, They don't believe a damn thing you say to each other what they want to hear. All I got was a Skoll special and an Obama special. I really no. You said you was there. That means you saw something. You talked about it years later. So that means you know a lot more. Plus, you had time to do your street research to tell us something. So you definitely a source of information. Start talking.
Yep.
Yeah. My boys.
Now,
Clout junkies. Yep, clout junkies.
Clout junkies, man. Let's keep this this pushing, Lonzo, because there's a few more things I want to break down with this specific story. But before I do that, I'm gonna ask everybody to hit that like button. Now that we're halfway through the show, I knew this show would fly by, man. I love doing shows like this. Great information from my dude Lonzo Williams, the godfather of West Coast hip hop. If you like what you hear, hit that subscribe button. Please check out some of our old videos, our old interviews. We have a really, really good catalog right here on this channel. And definitely tell a friend. And don't forget to hit that like button. Now, let's break this down a little bit more, Lonzo. I saw something in the chat, and this is something that I would love to discuss with you. Someone in the chat, let me give them their proper love. Rock Fresh says, Adam and Vlad. Oh, it's homie Rock. What up, man? Adam and Vlad ask cop questions. Never has nothing to do with music or business. Now, I'm going to put my 2 cents in, and then I would love for yours, Lonzo. I agree. Adam and Vlad, they do ask some cop questions. However, just because someone asks you a question doesn't mean you have to answer it. I don't know. Break that down, Lonzo. What do you think?
You know, I've been asked cop questions on interviews in the past. I've been asked questions that could cause a problem if I answer them correctly or answer them at all. And that's when your brain got to kick in. Your common sense, your street knowledge has to kick in. And see, no, I'm not touching that one, Doc. I'm not touching that one. I don't need the headache. I don't need the extra attention. And that's what a lot of people can't do. They can't discern between attention or clout chasing. Okay, I enjoy doing I enjoy doing this show with us, but I wasn't going to. I would not name names on this. I can speak on this. I would speak on the circumstances, but the streets are too small for me to say this stupid blah blah. I'm not going to do that. Streets too small. I go everywhere. And I don't have to look over my shoulder. So if certain things by being too specific can make things too personal and put a target on your back. And that's just what happens. When you speak too specifically about a situation, a person, or whatever the case may be, you put a target on your back, whether it be personal or from the law enforcement. You put a target on your ass. And that's something most smart cats won't do.
Yeah, Freddie B has a great line. This is a deep line from Freddie B. He says, they used to do it for the money. Now it's done for likes. That is crazy, Lonzo. That's true right there. I mean, I'll be damned if I go viral and not monetize off of it. But there's people who've gone viral 5-6 times and they're still broke as hell. It's crazy how that they'll do it for the likes instead of the money, man. That was unheard of back in the day.
Well, think about this, man. A lot of cats, and this goes back deeper than just the social media. A lot of guys have crashed and burned and gone broke for oohs and ahs. Think about this for a second. A lot of guys have crashed and burned and gone broke for like, oh man, homeboy. I'll never forget, man. A partner of mine got a car back in the day, and he couldn't afford it. He knew he couldn't afford it, but he got it. He bought it, put some rims on it. He was the first one in the hood that had this badass car with some rims on it, and everybody, every time he came out the street, oh man, that's a badass car. And 4, 5, 6 months later, the car was gone because he knew he couldn't afford it, but he had it anyway. He wanted that attention, and some cats, man, just need a digital hug. And that's what I think they want, a digital hug from somebody. Somebody got paying some attention. So they get them a digital hug by saying some shit that they had never been to saying. And a lot of these cats didn't have any men around them to give them the codes of the streets, and it just makes them do and say things that could probably be resolved if they had a real live hug as opposed to a digital hug or got some attention. you know, cats do things to get attention. I used to watch that boy Crip Mac. You know, I've never met a guy like him in person, but I knew he was going to crash and burn at some point in time because he needed too much attention. He all on the face, and that's all he said was the magic word, and he had to be super this and super that, and all fighting on the internet, and you know, threatening to whoop people, and you know, he just was too out there, and it was only a matter of time before he flamed out. It's the same thing with rappers. You know, folks say and do anything to get some attention, and like I said in the past, they skyrockets. You see them. Pop, you never see them again because they have no sustainability.
It's funny that you mentioned Crip Mac. You know, 3 big stars from No Jumper have got sent to jail or prison within the past couple of years. Crip Mac, 4 Extra, who was supposed to be the next big star, but before he could, he got locked up. Adam hired him, and now this guy, BRICC Baby. Big star, probably the biggest star on the channel, if not in urban media, you know, at that time. But 3 people on one platform. You would think they would learn from their predecessors before them, but they just keep on talking.
It's the same reason why cats keep going to jail for selling dope. They always think they are smarter than the cat before them. I ain't gonna put my dope in. I ain't gonna keep it over here. I'm gonna put it over here in my left shoe, not my right shoe. That's how homeboy got caught. He kept it in his right shoe, or he kept it in his car. I'm gonna do something different, and it's only a matter of time. Then you talking all the time. You know, when back in the 80s, when doing the crack era was cracking. Cats, man, soon they made some money. They got all the bling, go down to the Slauson swap meet, blinged up. Tennis shoot up, the suit, the Sergio Tachinis and the whatever suits, and you wore that uniform of pride, then you wonder why the police pulled you over. Oh man, somebody snitching, dude. You got back then. Dayton wires was $5,000. You got a Mustang 5.0 with Dayton wires. You got on more jewelry than Mr. T ever thought about wearing, and you riding around in the hood. It's probably a good chance you might have a gun someplace. Let's pull you over and just see what we come up with. Okay. Oh, we found some dope and a gun. Damn, this is a lucky day. Oh, we found a gang of money. And these are the kind of games people play. But the guys who were low profile and didn't buy all that extra stuff, or guys that kept their mouth shut, just lived like they had a job. Most of them didn't have a problem until one of the cats in the 5.0 with the bling bling got busted, and now they started twisting his ass, and all of a sudden, homeboy, the low profile cat, he got a case because the guy he was working with talked too much and was too loud and got everybody, you know, just like Denzel Washington did in American Gangster. Soon as he put that damn suit on, he was busted. They didn't pay him no attention. And pay him no attention till he put that goddamn chinchilla suit on. And next thing you know, they was on his ass. He was sitting at the front row of the fights. Nobody tripped till he when he wore that goddamn suit. And that changed his whole trajectory. Okay? So stop wearing them goddamn chinchilla suits on the internet, fools.
Man, I'm loving this conversation. You know, going back to the likes earlier and the clout, what we were talking about a few minutes ago, they've done studies. And for some people, I don't know how true the studies are, but for some people, the same endorphins that are associated with busting a nut during sex go off when you get a like or a subscribe, or, you know, someone follows you. That is a trip, dude.
You know, maybe so. Maybe I don't think about internet enough, or I've been getting some powerful shit because I don't see that one. I understand how it could work, but yeah, it never made me get sleepy and want to go pass out. Shit, I'm finna go to sleep. Shit. Anyway, you know, they have a lot of studies that talk about the effects of social media and how people become so addicted to it. And sometimes I will find myself strolling endlessly, and especially in the morning. nobody to talk to, nobody to call. I'm up. I didn't took that morning whiz. Now all of a sudden it's 4:30 in the morning. Ain't nobody to call. Ain't nothing to do. It's probably still dark outside. I'm gonna grab my phone and start scrolling. And if I look up, it's all of a sudden it's 6:30. God damn, I done wasted all this time. But if I want to get something done, I don't even touch my phone. I just grab my put my pants on and get busy. So yeah, it definitely has an addictive quality to it, and maybe it could be as good as sex. I don't know. I've been addicted to sex for God knows how long.
Let's talk about something, Lonzo. We'll go ahead and give this subject a rest. You know, I'm sure we'll be talking about it more. I'm sure a lot of information is going to come out over the next couple months, probably years, about this whole story. But something that we definitely have to touch on. Tomorrow is March 26th. Off the top of your head, what does March 26th mean to you?
I just I'm gonna cheat because it's already on my damn screen. 30 years since Eazy been gone.
Man, was it 1995?
I believe so.
Wow, man, 30 years, Lonzo. Talk to me, dog. Let's just go from there. 30 years, man.
Dude, that was a crazy, man. I'm sitting getting a little shiver right now, man, because that dude, I saw him a few months before he went in the hospital. If I ain't mistaken, we did a video. In fact, my nephew, who's in the video, today is his birthday also. I got to give him a call. Josh Milwaukee, much love to your nephew. He was in the video because Eazy did something in Compton. So he wanted to do something else. They wouldn't let him do it. So I arranged for him to do a fire video because also I think they got there's people that died at the same something like that also. And he had to do a fire video. And I have to think it wasn't very long between the two times and shortly after that he was gone. Okay, because we talked about this. Me and my nephew talked about this. He did the video, and this time, shortly after that, he was gone, and it didn't seem real. It just didn't seem real. It didn't seem right. I remember it was a very sad time, man. I never go to hospitals on those kind of situations. But I remember seeing all the people at the hospital and folks were there, crying, and some niggas had demo tapes too, though. They was like, I don't believe it. I'm gonna break my cassette. Don't know who because people did that back in the day. Niggas brought their demos everywhere for fear they, just in case they run into somebody that can heard their shit. Rappers that damn powerful. People kept their demos in their pockets. I got so many, I started charging cats to listen to them. But yeah, man, it was a cold situation because nobody understood what happened, man. He had bronchitis, was in the hospital, and shit. 10 days later, he was dead. 2 weeks later, I don't know the exact timeline, but it didn't make sense to anybody because nobody thought it was going to happen. Nobody, he's in the hospital, be out, huh? What? Yeah, dude. And K-Day was still around. Everybody was on the radio. I believe K-Day. Yeah, it was on either Power 106 or K-Day talking about it. It was a big deal, dude. It was it was like a cloud fell over the city, dude. A cloud fell over hip hop. Yeah, that's real shit. Yep. Dusty, did you freeze? I think you did. But yeah, when you think about 30 years in the game, man, and 30 years from that happening, and you just look at all the effects of what have happened since then. How many folks have died senselessly since then? And he was one of the only ones from a major perspective that died of natural causes. And that was like the beginning of the whole superstars of hip hop starting to check out of here, between violence, and most of them died through, as my boy called it, lead poisoning. But Eazy was one of the few ones that died from natural causes. And again, that's always been under debate from the hip hop community. Why, how? Magic had And now here's a few years before that, Magic still here kicking it, right to this day, with no signs of HIV. And I don't know who he went to. They say he went to Dr. Sabi. I'm not sure, but I know it just don't seem right, dude. It just don't seem right. And the brothers missed. And you know, people thought we didn't get along because we were always clowning each other. Eazy was a very funny dude, very funny. Always had a very quick wit. Always had something smart to say, and I did too. But we respected each other. And like I said before, many times in the past, of all the cats I've worked with, he's the only one that ever came back to the house. I ain't mad at nobody because you didn't come back, but he's the only one that came back. He was here not long before he died. He was the only one that we ever hung out with after the fact. When he blew up, we still was tight. You know, he never forgot. And maybe that could have been part of his demise, man. I don't know. But it just, when you sit back and you think about it now, I'm glad somebody brought it up. It didn't really ring a bell with me. But tomorrow will be 30 years. And where'd the time go, man? Where'd the time go? Speaking of going someplace, where the fuck did Dusty go? I'm here by myself, folks. You're live on Lonzo, this Lonzo show. Dusty had to step off. I guess he was doing some internet things. I'm gonna go to the chat room and see what else was here today for us to kick it about. Chat room was on fire, man. Dusty said his internet is tripping. He's still tripping. Yeah. That was easy. Yeah, okay. Gary's Garage. Salute. Much love to you folks. Yeah, man, it's just and I think about all the cats, man. Some of the most powerful people in hip hop are no longer here. And some even if those who are still here, they have gotten silenced. It seems like they have been silenced. Maybe it's the way the music is distributed these days. If you don't have a Spotify account or some other streaming platform, you don't get the same inundation that we got back in the day. What I mean by that is, if you had a hit record, it was everywhere. It was on K-Day, Power 106, Kiss FM, and we only had FM radio and AM radio. So K-Day played it, and all the other stations played it, and even sometimes some non-black stations would play it as well. And it gave you a sense of inundation because it was saturation through inundation. And nowadays, that can't happen because everything is based on a streaming channel, and nobody hears the same thing at the same time. It's very seldom that people hear the same thing at the same time. And I was just talking about how music has been diluted so much. Whereas back in the day, when somebody did something, had a good album, you heard about it, you saw it, you read about it. You know, you think with all the communication we have today that there would be more saturation of a particular song. You don't hear songs. I'm sorry, let me back up. They're Not Like Us is the first song in a long time I've heard that was everywhere. It's everywhere. It's in commercials. It's on the internet. It's everywhere. There are people doing renditions of it. That's the first time I've heard that in decades, man. The last time a song was like that for me was Happy, or even Robin Thicke song. That was another song that it was everywhere all the time, and that's why I think Marvin Gaye's family came after him. That was right before we had the platforms, but they had not really taken over the delivery of music the way they have now. So everybody got a platform, Spotify, whatever the case may be, and so there's no saturation. There's only saturation if you subscribe to a certain platform. Whereas back in the day, we had radio, celestial radio, that gave everybody that same concentration. So you knew the music that was hot because it was everywhere. You couldn't get away from it. Now, it'll slide right past you. I heard LL Cool J had a great album. I've heard a couple of songs. I don't subscribe to Spotify, so I don't know. It's not on my playlist in my car because I can't. Maybe I could download it. I just have it. But I didn't buy the album, buy the CD, so I could rip it, so I can put it in my playlist. So I got to tie into Spotify. Just now, I'm not gonna do all that. That's just me.
Now, not necessarily. Oh, my bad. Hold on. Oops. Not necessarily on this show, but what is the most common question you get asked in your personal life about Eazy-E?
Was y'all really cool? Because I always tell the story of how how him and Dre came to the club. I ran both of them off. They wasn't dressed right, and he talked shit. I talked shit back to him. I think I said this before when you were off the air. Eazy and I always bumped heads from a friendly perspective. We weren't buddy, but when he asked me something, if he asked me for something, if I could do it, I would do it. We had different. We come from different sides of the streets. I'm a baby boomer. He's a Gen X, whatever they are, and we saw things through different lenses, but we still had a respect for each other. Everything he got prior to meeting Jerry Heller, he got through me, including meeting Jerry Heller. So I couldn't have disliked the dude. But again, people want to always pit people against each other. No, just because we didn't see eye to eye on every damn thing. I pull my pants up, I wear belts, and I didn't wear big T-shirts, But he's still talking to the brother. He was super cool. Been to his houses in Paramount. He came by here months before he was here at my house. Like I said before, he was the only one that was here before anybody else. And he's the only one that blew up that would still come out of pad and just kick it. Only one. He would use my house sometimes as a point of connection with the twins, Jake and John. I found our video that day from Eazy's from Easy Street. Man, I found a bunch of shit in those last couple of days, dude. I'm gonna cut some of the stuff up and bring a new section to the show. Just got to find time to do it.
Heck yeah, let me know if you need some help, man. I don't mind coming over and helping you out a bit.
That'll work. We can do that.
Real talk. Let me know. We'll set it up, have lunch or something, and make it happen.
You got it.
I would love to be a part of that process. That's crazy to see what archives you have, man. That going back, you going back to stuff from the 80s?
I got stuff from the 80s, dude.
Sheesh.
Dude, I was Cal Worthington back in the 80s. Okay. When I discovered video, my buddy Carl, rest his soul, taught me how to do video. He was a video cat. He learned it from the military, and he would come out here and we would shoot videos. And then when I discovered that you can go and buy video commercials on cable television for your area, you could just buy. I could just buy Compton. My club was right near Compton, so I bought Compton, Gardena, and whatever. And it was like $5 to buy spots. I would spend $100 a week, man, and just buy. I'd go. The most expensive part about me doing something was actually doing the commercials, because then video commercials, they was charging like regular studios. It wasn't no digital shit. You had to have 2-3 different recorders to edit a piece, and me with my misspeaking ass, it would take me a minute to get shit done. It would take me an hour or two to do a 30-second commercial, but I got them commercials though. I got some of the outtakes. So yeah, I was running commercials for everything back in the day, and I found some of those commercials. I found my other Love Connection, my other Newlywed Game tape where I actually won the Newlywed. I said, boy, if my producers knew I had this shit, they'd kick my ass. I didn't think about it, man. I just was Friday. I was over the weekend. For the last 2 weeks, I've been digitizing. Well, last few months, I've been digitizing all my old Issues in the Hood show. I had a public access show for 15 years on Compton. I interviewed a lot of people. Before the internet, I was on cable television every Thursday. I kept every fucking tape. I got a lot of people on those shows. A lot of different issues on those shows were addressed that we still dealing with today. And that's what I want to digitize and see what I had. And I didn't realize sometimes you forget what you did, man. And I forget a lot of what I've done.
That's crazy. I know you had to show yourself Issues in the Hood, but what do you remember and what can you tell us about this generation, specifically about public access television?
Public access television was something that came into existence during the actual cable TV era. Okay, and every city that they ran cables in, they had to give one channel that was dedicated to the community. Okay, one channel. And Compton started off being channel 3, which was perfect for me because 2 and 4 were some of the hottest TV channels during my time. I'm right on doing the news. So you had to take a 1-month course on video production, and then you had to take a course on how to host a show. And because I got stage experience and I DJ all the time, I got thrown into a show right after the 92 riots. It started off being called Music in the Hood. Okay. And I took the class, passed the class with flying colors, and started this show, man. And it was just one of the best things I've ever done. One of my partners who was on the channel with me, he and I are the only ones that I can think of right now that are still doing video right to this day. It was a bunch of people that did it, but we're the only ones that stuck with it and moved into the actual podcast realm. He's a pastor, and he's, like I said, he's still doing this thing. Pastor Hamilton. But yeah, man, it was free. The class was free, and they had a whole studio in Compton. And every Thursday from 6 to 7:30, I'd go down there and post up and do my show. But they did not record this show. They didn't record them. If you wanted your show recorded, you had to bring your own tapes. And I would go to Target and buy a big ass 10-pack of tapes. I left them in the studio, and every Thursday, my guy had to give me a tape, and I never watched them. Once I did my show, I didn't come home and eat popcorn or jack off watching myself. I never do that. I don't trip on me. I don't watch these shows most of the time. I don't watch us. Okay. If somebody brings them to my attention, I'll look at it. But once I'm done with something, I go on to something else. Now, I keep all the shows, but I don't sit around and just watch it. Every once in a while, we do an extra good show. I will look at it again to make sure I cover certain points. But for the most part, I don't watch me.
I hate watching myself, and I hate listening. I hate my voice, to be honest with you. I don't like listening to myself.
Same here, exactly. So, but I do preserve the content for references or just for future whatever, man.
That's right. We can't end the show, Lonzo. Someone just reminded me, 1968, we lost George Foreman. Now, you got to watch him probably on TV, I don't know, whatever. You got to experience him a different way than I did. I experienced the 45-year-old George Foreman back in the 90s who was still whooping butt, but he was nothing like the 70s George Foreman. Talk to us about George Foreman for the last couple minutes.
Man, George Foreman was the biggest son of a bitch I've ever seen all my life. He was a huge man, dude. All them dudes were huge. Oh, George Foreman, Muhammad Ali, and Ken Norton. I met them all at one point in time, and they were massive men. Okay. George started off being a bad guy. He was like a big bully. He didn't smile. He didn't do a lot of press. When him and Ali was going at it, man, and he just was always the bad guy. And Ali would clown him for being big and slow, but they say when he hit you, man, like the world would move. He was like it's like, damn, that motherfucker hit hard, okay? And he was slow, but he was consistent. And Ali, I think he's the one that Ali did learn to create the rope-a-dope on. And Ali would let him he would just let him punch and punch and punch and punch. And he finally burnt himself out. And that's when Ali finally learned to whoop his ass. But then once he got out of the fight game, he came up with the George Foreman grill and started smiling. I'm George Foreman. By my Foreman, that's how he just flipped over because he was kicking ass and whooping everybody's ass with a frown. Now he's smiling and selling these goddamn grills. Hey, man, I got a George Foreman grill now. Shit.
RIP to a legend, man. Damn, that show went by quick, just as I thought it would. Shout out to the chat. We had a big night tonight, man. Upwards of 50 people, well over 50 tonight. So thank you all. Hit that like button before you head out. Any last words before you hit them with that outro, Lonzo?
Man, you know what? I want to thank BizFed and all my folks. I got another award on Friday for being an innovator in the community, dude. And them awards mean a lot. I really appreciate it. But before I go, folks, hey, for those who never heard of me, I'm the first one to put Dr. Dre in the surgery, stuck Ice Cube in the freezer till he got cold on the eve after dark, 50-yard line to Super Bowl. In the movie Straight Outta Compton, they played me like a hater of rap. Don't believe that bullshit, because it was all cap. My history goes deeper than you will ever know. Just remember that N.W.A. stands for not without Alonzo. Peace.